Welcome to episode 5 of
Now with more cheese.
Theme song. It's been a minute.
It's been a few minutes.
Yeah, we've been sick.
Yeah. First it was the flu.
And then we just had a awful cold.
A really stupid cold. Yeah.
2 weeks worth. Well, my nose was all chapped from so many tissues. Yeah. Poor me. Isn't it amazing the dust flows through the air like that? Whoa, there goes a... Whoa. You want to know what's amazing? Worms.
Oh my God. So I'm driving down the highway last night. And I'm getting texts from Leah, and I can't see them because I'm driving down the highway and passing Mack trucks in the rain, so I can't look at my phone. So I finally get to glance down, and I still can't see it because I don't have my reading glasses on because I'm driving down the highway. And I come home finally, and I get here a couple hours later, and I'm like, "What were you texting me about?"
Worms.
It couldn't wait till I got home.
No, earthworms. Somebody else, I'm sure, has seen this phenomenon. It was amazing and magical, and I think worms, well, if anybody out there follows me on any other social media, you know that I'm just like this. I think everything is amazing. And I brought the dogs out to do their business, and I had a flashlight, and I looked on the ground, and I just literally saw thousands of worms that came up to the surface. And then as I walked, they were like, bloop, 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 right? You saw it too.
Yeah, I think it was the flashlight. Like when you shined the flashlight on them, they all went and sucked into holes. So you'd turn the flashlight, and in that small beam of the light, you'd see 3 dozen, 4 dozen worms just in that beam.
Yes, and that's how big
they
the
go
beam was.
And suck back in. Oh yeah, there must have been
Thousands.
hundreds of thousands in the yard. I mean, we didn't count them, but I was afraid to walk anywhere because I was
they
were everywhere.
And it was just, like when you're a kid? Were you like that when you were a kid? You're like, there's worms. And you pick up
we
worms.
played with worms, yeah.
It's the same thing when you're an adult, and seeing that many was insane. And then, of course, we had to look it up because I was like, why? What's going on? I went back out like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, and they were mating.
So
it's like a worm on a worm, and they just do this. And worms are hermaphrodites.
Okay, this is getting very...
No, isn't that amazing?
You should Google it.
It was just this beautiful thing of nature.
I don't know if I'd call it beautiful.
Why? They do amazing things.
Have you seen Dune?
Okay, these were worms.
Yep.
The spice.
It was creepy. It was
Why?
super creepy. Because
they don't even have legs.
Right?
Or faces. They're not snakes.
And yet they knew we were there, and they were creeping around.
They were not creeping around. We were creeping around.
And then
I went back out, and they're like, can we have a few minutes?
It felt like, I think I was afraid it was a Stephen King novel. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like you walk outside
what could
and
Stephen
suddenly
King
all the
do
worms
with
are
worms?
coming out. I don't know.
Suddenly I looked, and there were thousands of worms coming towards me. You know it's spring when, A, there's vultures. They come back. And B, the ants come marching in.
And C, worms copulate on your lawn.
Worms.
In droves. In Stephen King fashion. It was nightmarish.
I don't see the Stephen King part in this. Just slimy invertebrates with no faces.
Wait.
No legs. And they're just like wiggling around. And what is that behind me?
That's what the worms
were
doing. That's what the worms were doing.
But the worms were like, hey, we're breaking down soil.
I don't know. It felt scary.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
How does that make you feel?
I was a little traumatized. And you kept making me go back outside again.
Tell me more about that.
Thank you. Thank you for validating me. Wait, you didn't validate me, did you? You didn't validate me.
I did, yes.
So if there's a clip, insert clip here. If not, we'll just move on to say the other thing we've been busy with, besides Leah disturbing intimate worm moments, is we felt the pressure because our truck has 80,000 miles on it. We've been a one-car family for at least 10 years.
Yes.
And by one car, I mean one truck.
Yeah.
And it's with the tariffs coming out. So we decided we were going to buy a new truck now.
And we have a Toyota Tacoma, so we thought, okay, the new Toyota Tacoma, we have a 6-cylinder right now, and I love that engine. It's wonderful. But the new Tacoma has a 4-cylinder, and it's just like turbo all the time. So, we thought we can't downgrade.
We test drove it. It was sort of like riding on the John Deere after you've ridden on after you've gone four-wheeling. Right? I feel like our truck is this like power truck. We're like,
it's awesome. I love
we're
this
like
truck.
2 babes in a truck. Yeah. And then we get in the 4-cylinder Tacoma, and it was like me.
So it was good that we both had the same feeling. We're like, this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a truck. It
Yes.
just didn't feel right.
So then we thought, well, we'll have to move up to a Tundra.
Yeah.
Where this is us in the Tundra trying to see over the dashboard.
Holy
like
cow. The Tundra's
suddenly
big.
we felt very small, which we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that.
And your seat went up so you could be like, but then over on the passenger side, I was like this. Couldn't see the road, right? Like all I could see is like the dash and like, right? The treetops.
Yeah, it's big. It was bigger than I wanted. But I think I just gave in to like, okay,
We're going to have to get
we
it.
want a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
Because we tow. And even though this Tacoma was like, it can tow, you can't tell me a 4-cylinder can tow anything over 2,000 pounds safely. I just,
Yeah.
The Tundra used to be an 8-cylinder.
Right.
So then they're like, oh, we'll just be the 6-cylinder, and it's the 6-cylinder of the Lexus. So it's kind of like, so you're putting a car engine into, anyhow.
Fun facts with Leah.
Fun facts with Leah. So by the time I researched it, and we were ready to go, we're like, this is the one we're going to get. I was like, I don't know if we should.
And I was like, hey, you're making me anxious. We already made a decision. And then I spent a fitful night not sleeping. In the middle of the night, as my brain's going over and over again, I really wasn't excited about buying the Tundra. And if you're going to buy something that expensive, you better be excited about it.
And we were trading our truck in, too.
Which we love. We love our truck.
Yeah, and our truck has a great resale value. When I woke up, I walked into the living room, and boom, you had it.
We need to buy a car and a truck. And then you said,
we have the most beautiful truck in the world. We just need to buy a car.
ding, ding, ding.
That's it. So then
We went to the dealer and came home with a car.
a car. And now we have a hybrid, which is fantastic because we weren't ready to go all in electric because we have to go like hundreds of miles away to see our families.
We travel a lot,
So-
yeah. And having to pause to charge if you can only get 200 miles or...
Yeah, that's a no-go for me. So it's a Corolla Cross, and I'm a total geek with stuff like this. Poor Amelia, because in the past couple days I just read everything I could about this vehicle.
That's all I've heard about, people. All I've heard about, literally.
About regenerative braking, which is a thing with a hybrid car.
Regenerative braking.
And just this one little trip we did today, we got almost 48 miles to the gallon.
48 miles to the gallon.
Isn't that crazy?
The Amelia fun fact, the battery in hybrids is like this big. It's not a battery. It's a battery. So that was really cool to see that. You had some video you were watching about replacing the cells and batteries. And
It's almost like a bunch of little batteries together because all of those cells are kind of like separate little batteries. And then, okay, never mind.
it was huge, people. It was huge. It's where normally a spare tire would be, is where your batteries are. So instead, it just comes with a tire puncture kit, which,
And a pump. I have a kit where, if you get like a puncture in your tire and that you go to the mechanic and they have this thing on a piece of metal and you don't know.
No, I do, but I don't know if they do.
I have the kit.
You put in a thing and you plug it up.
The thing for the thing where the thing goes.
The plug thing.
And then the plug thing and then
Thingy.
the thing is no
Yeah.
more and then you can drive on your tire.
But
thing.
Here's another question for your people is how many of you have actually ever hit your tire on the curb in a city and ripped it open so that it's not a cute little puncture wound. It's like a shred. It's like a laceration that's like this big on your tire. That can't be repaired on your own.
Ask us how we know that.
Ask us. Yeah. I had a car that didn't work when it rained. If you came to a stop,
Right.
it wouldn't start again. So I came to a stop to
Volkswagen.
pay a toll, and then it didn't move.
Right?
It decided to just like stall and didn't restart again.
We had a Westphalia It was brilliant, wonderful.
You absolutely need to say what a Westphalia is. No one knows.
Really?
Nerd moment. Comment if you know what a Westphalia is. It was a VW bus with a camper that popped up.
And it was insanely awesome. But yes, anytime it rained, you'd just be driving along and it would be like, padunk, dead.
Yeah.
And no one ever knew what it was.
So many stories
They
about
called
that.
it Vanagon syndrome. That thing was fantastic. Isn't it kind of amazing, though, that like we're so addicted to our phones and all that now, but all the things we just talked about, we didn't have phones. No. Like we drove across the country and we had to print things out from AAA.
Oh yeah, we got triptychs.
Triptychs.
We didn't even print them out. We didn't have printers back then. We went to the AAA office.
Oh, and they had it for us.
Yeah, we told them where we wanted to go, and then they printed out the route with the maps. When I cleaned out the glove compartment in the truck today,
you found a triptych?
I did not find. I should. Yeah, we have maps in there from that time. It's a Tompkins County map and an Ithaca City map because I drove.
Oh, yeah.
And did home visits to see clients when we first moved here, and there weren't things like cell phones or...
No, you had to know
GPS.
where you were going.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was wondering, I wanted to ask you, should we recycle those?
I don't know. I don't think you should.
Tell me your end of the world worries. Go ahead.
There it is. You just did. Gen X. Everyone bitches about all the other generations. No one ever bitches about us because we're tiny and we don't give a shit what you think usually.
Yeah,
we don't have anything to argue about.
We were the original latchkey kids.
We were.
We had keys and we were coming home at age 8 or 9 to empty houses with a key. We got put outside to play and didn't come back for 12 to 14 hours. I feel like I did that when I was about 5 years old. We took care of ourselves. We were powerhouses.
Gen X. We raised ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just in the time from high school to now. Like technology.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like all these great things have happened. It's fantastic. I'm so glad that I grew up and was able to learn before the internet. And cell phones, remember, they were wicked expensive. When they first came out, they were stupid expensive. They are now. But in the beginning, they were literally just a little piece of plastic. You couldn't text. You couldn't do anything.
It was better than a pager. No, you could text. Couldn't we text?
No.
On the early ones? Oh.
You sure couldn't. I love technology.
No, you're right. On my first cell phone, I couldn't text. Wow, that's crazy.
Because I remember I was like, I'm going to get one of these newfangled cell phones.
Wow.
And Amelia was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I love technology. And then I proceeded to leave it on top of the car and then drive away. And then a half mile later, I was like, oh, shit.
Did we find it?
Yeah. It was in a couple pieces. I just often think that I would not want to grow up having a phone and a computer and the internet as we know it now. I think it jades you, and I think it makes you grow up way too quick.
Yeah, you're on all the time.
But the other thing is you don't grow up really quick. You're still a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. That's got to be a burden because you can't handle that stuff that you see.
No, I feel so lucky.
Oh, man.
Plus, we were teenagers in the 80s, and the music was just the best.
It was. I remember listening to music, right? So starting with vinyl and then going to cassette tapes. But then they went into Dolby sound. And then it went to THX. You know what that is? If you were in the theater and heard that, it was a magical moment.
Oh.
I just wanted them to rewind it and do it over and over again. So trying hard not to read the news.
So how both good and bad, rather than, we're not going to talk, don't worry you guys, we're not talking about current events here, but what we're going to talk about is how are we coping with them? Because everybody's got a lot to deal with right now, no matter who you are. And I do think there are some people whose lives are more in danger than others, which is really scary. So there's a lot of really heavy stuff going on right now.
Right.
And no matter who you are, if you have a heart and you have feelings, then you're worried about somebody right now. And the question becomes, how are we coping with it? And I feel like that's also why you guys haven't seen us, because it's been really hard, because we're doing a lighthearted podcast. Ha ha, isn't everything fun and funny? And there's a lot of stuff that's not fun and funny.
No.
So what are the reasonable ways you're coping right now? And what are the really unhealthy, you're making everything worse for yourself ways you're coping right now? Go ahead.
Those are great questions. Wow. I'm not on the spot or anything. The healthy ways, some of the healthy ways could be unhealthy ways too. Like I work a lot when I'm stressed. Because when I'm out there in the shop and I'm just making, everything can fall away. I mean, sometimes, not sometimes, but there's always things in the back of my mind saying, this isn't right. Things aren't okay. You aren't safe. People aren't safe. People you care about aren't safe. But then I just keep working. I keep trying to do my part. And I think my part is making, creating, sharing it with other people. But then sometimes it means I'm out there for 12 hours a day. And sometimes I think, is that just putting my head in the sand? By being out there? Am I supposed to be out on the streets? Getting arrested?
Do you think you watch the news too much?
No, I don't. I don't have to. The thing is you can just get, for me, I can just get a tiny snippet and it could totally screw me up for the entire day. What was your question?
When you, just that last line.
I'm in a panic attack.
Okay, you are.
Yeah, I'm panicking right now.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, let's take a minute.
Why am I panicking? Okay.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled comedic podcast
For some heavy emotions. Wow.
to bring you a real life moment.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. No, it didn't come out of nowhere. That's the thing. It didn't come out of nowhere.
But you hold stuff in because
I do.
So what I don't need it back. After you've used it, thank you. It makes total sense that we're spending so much time trying to stay functional and be functional, and then here we are sitting down and having a serious conversation. I am a therapist, so I do make feelings come out sometimes. Are you all right? Okay. Say more about that. How does that make you feel?
Somebody on one of my social media accounts wrote me a note and said, I'm from Canada, and I just want you to know that I'm unfollowing anybody from America. And
You had a great response.
it hurt me. I don't even know this person, and it hurt me in this, it was in a really down-to-earth way. It hurt me in a personal way. It hurt me in this, kind of global way. National way, I should say, not global. It hurt me as somebody who lives in the United States right now. And yeah, my response was, bad things are happening in the country that I live in right now. And what you're saying is basically saying, if you live in a neighborhood and there's one jerk on the street, then you're not going to talk to anybody on your street.
Or at least on that side of the street.
Or that side of the
You're only
street.
going to talk to people on your side of the street because there's a jerk over there.
And when we do stuff like that, we're just missing out. We're missing out on things. And we're also taking out our frustration and our anger and our sadness and our hurt on somebody who doesn't deserve it. And we shouldn't be doing that. It's just wrong. This is the time to come together.
Absolutely.
And that their words towards strangers, or somebody like me who a lot of people, they're like, oh, Leah's not a stranger. So they write me a note like that. And I think that was my first line of I'm not sure why you're telling me this. Because I'm the person who's trying to bring light and, bring people together. And it's not even that I'm trying. I'm just doing it. It's just what I do.
You always have.
Yeah, it's just what I do. This is just me, and it's who I am. I don't think anybody wants to knowingly hurt somebody else. Even if they put it like, oh, look, and they're doing that. If somebody started crying in front of them afterwards and said, hey, man, that was just, why did you do that? That really hurt me. I think most people are going to say, oh, I hurt you. Maybe it's not going to be I'm sorry, but maybe it's going to be an acknowledgement.
If we're in person.
Yes.
If we're in person.
If you're a keyboard cowboy.
Yeah, then a keyboard cowboy. AKA troll. Yeah, a lot of people will say things online that they won't say to your face. We've rarely had people be mean to our faces, but online, yeah, there's all kinds of horrible people out there.
No, I've always thought that.
But they're not horrible people. They're people who are emboldened by being online and who have lost that human connection. Yeah.
Or, I don't even think that. I think there are people who don't know how to be when you remove somebody's face from a situation. And you're just... when you're just doing that, you think there's no consequences to your actions.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally disconnected.
But if they were doing that to somebody who's on the other end of that, somebody that they care about, they'd be like, well, that's not okay. Yeah.
Can I say something?
No.
Thanks for asking what I think.
I'm sorry. What was the question I was supposed to ask? Because you got me all fucking fucked up.
How are you coping?
How are you coping with all this craziness? Because you help other people cope. That's your job.
You know, we can get zen here because I absolutely rely on a lot of Buddhist principles to get me through this. However, I think I'm happy to talk about those, and I could talk about those for hours.
I know.
What I'm going to say right now is, in light of that zenness, which is that civilizations come and go, and we have to still show up. We still wake up every morning and make the coffee, and we still have to get the kids ready for school. Not me, I don't have kids, but I still have to take the dogs out for walks. Like, the world could be falling apart, and life goes on.
Yeah.
There are, right, so I won't get into that because that's this whole other intense thing, but I believe really strongly that we need to do is find joy and build the communities around us. Invest in our communities, and that can be a small community like family. It could be a large community like where you live. It could be specific communities that you're connected to. But joy is an act of resistance. Joy is an act of rebellion.
Yes.
And I feel really strongly that rather than like fall down and weep, which many of us may want to do right now, that we have to come together and laugh, which is really hard to do. Right?
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is, but then
that's
isn't.
how I get through. No,
the
and
other
it's
thing,
easy. When we go out with our friends and we hang out with
Funny
our
things
wonderful,
happen.
wonderful group, this community, or when I was visiting my parents yesterday, it's like so much laughter and so much joy and so much connection there. And that's where we need to invest. If we can't invest or we're helpless on a more national or global level, we still have that. And that's what's going to keep us going. That's the food for our souls. If we don't have that, then we don't have the energy to help others like I have to do.
Right.
Yeah. So I read the news once a day.
Yep.
And I don't wallow, because if I did that, then when my clients came to me and said, how am I supposed to get through this? I'd be like, oh. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I can't do that. And so I hold the space to say, it doesn't matter if you think things are okay or not. We still wake up every morning and make the coffee and pick up the dog poops, and we still, you know,
your to-do list doesn't go away no matter what's happening. It's true.
And we still
Very
can
true.
celebrate birthdays. And, and I'm going to visit my mom on Mother's Day, and I'm still going to do all those things.
And make an olive oil cake.
I said I was going to make an olive oil cake tonight.
There's still time.
There's still time. That's the clock. People don't know why I'm staring up there. There's the clock there. There's still time to make an olive oil cake, which looked absolutely delicious. Do you ever read the book in middle school, How to Eat Fried Worms?
There's so many books I didn't read that you did. I don't understand it.
And it was about a kid who lost a bet and had to save face by eating worms. And
He killed and fried the worms?
yeah, I think he had ate them in the end. His mom was like, you don't have to eat raw worms, and they cooked them up, and he had ketchup on them, and they were actually delicious or something like that. Yeah. Nowadays, we'd all be like, those are bullies, and that's not okay. But at the time, it was like, we all
Now,
knew.
son, you have to really eat those worms.
Yeah, you had to. So it was the 80s.
What?
It was the 80s, so it was like, well, if you lost a bet, you need to eat the fried worms. You need to eat worms.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. That tracks with the 80s,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah. Yeah, so then you read the book, and then you were like, well, I guess I'd have to eat fried worms if that happened to me. I mean, we didn't think, like, I wouldn't do it. We thought, well, at least now I know in case I ever have to eat fried worms.
They
how I
taste
would
all
do
right.
it.
Way
I
to
know
fry
I
'em
can
up.
do it.
Oh, my God.
Right? If he can do it, and I'm bullied too, then I can do it too.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I don't like this book at all. Well, people, hang in there. Everything is going to be okay.
Hug the ones you love.
Do good things. For no reason. Especially with strangers. Peace out, People Scouts.
Peace out.
We'll see you next time for another episode of
Now with more cheese.
Ba-dum-dum-dum-tsh.
Also, you guys, check this out. Hair sticks. Leah made hair twigs.
I did. From scraps. Leave no scrap behind, people.
They're in the shop if you need them. But you can't have my pair.
Shameless plug.
Shameless hair plug.